Today's health gives me strength. For much of my life, I have dropped the ball in this area. I lived a very fast-paced life. For about 10 years, I held down 2 demanding jobs. I led a church of more than 3,000 people with a staff of over 50 and a budget of $5 million a year. At the same time, I led a leadership development organization that required me to travel and speak more than 100 days a year. When I gave up the pastorate to dedicate my time to my organization, I nearly doubled my travel. I also built up the company and increased the number of employees from 18 to 175. Maintaining a lifestyle at that pace meant that I rarely exercised. I didn't eat well and I was overweight, but I didn't worry. Every year I had a physical and received an excellent report from my doctor, so I simply took my health for granted. All that changed for me on December 18, 1998, the night of the annual Christmas party for my employees and their spouses. At the end of the party, I didn't feel well. One of my employees gave me a goodbye hug and felt cold sweat on the back of my neck. Then suddenly I felt an excruciating pain in my chest that brought me to my knees. As I lay on the floor awaiting the paramedics, it felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest. I was grateful that Margaret, our children, and many of my closest friends were there with me at the party because I thought I wasn't going to make it. When I got to the hospital, I was told that I was having a serious heart attack. In the wee hours of the morning, Dr. Jeff Marshall performed a procedure to remove a clot that made its way into my heart. He saved my life. Afterward, he explained that he had used a new procedure that had only recently been developed. If I'd had my heart attack a year or 2 earlier, nothing could have been done. It would have killed me. It almost seems too obvious to mention that your health matters today, yet I believe I must say it, because many people treat their bodies the way I did for more than 50 years. So here's a reminder of what's at stake when it comes to health. Your health impacts you emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. You can escape from a lot of things that might hurt you. You can quit a hazardous job. You can move from one climate to another. You can stay away from someone who wants to harm you. But you can't get away from your body. For as long as you live, you're stuck with it. If you make choices that cause you to be continually hurting or unhealthy, it will affect every aspect of your life, your heart, your mind, and spirit. Health often determines quality as well as quantity of life. My friend Zig Ziglar asked the question, if you had $1 million racehorse, would you allow it to smoke cigarettes, drink whiskey, and stay out all night? How about a $1,000 dog? Of course you would. A thoroughbred horse that was not taken care of would never be capable of winning a race. A dog whose health ran down would not work effectively or show well. The real question is, if you wouldn't allow your animals to do such things, then why would you allow yourself to? It's easier to maintain good health than to regain it. People are funny. When they are young, they will spend their health to get wealth. Later, they will gladly pay all they have trying to get their health back. I fell into a similar trap, even though I wasn't trying to accumulate wealth. I was driven by a sense of mission and the desire to achieve. That caused me to make a number of costly mistakes. I was arrogant about my health. I thought because I felt good, I was healthy. I worked too hard, I did not exercise enough, and I didn't listen to loving friends who tried to warn me about my lifestyle. As I recovered from my heart attack in the hospital, I felt very fortunate to be alive. Cardiovascular diseases are the #1 cause of death in the United States and Europe. But I didn't discover how blessed I was until Dr. Marshall told me that I had sustained no damage to my heart. That meant I had the potential to make a full recovery. At the age of 51, I made this health decision. I will take good care of myself by exercising and eating right. If you know the value of good health, yet you've had a hard time making the commitment to know and follow healthy guidelines, here are some suggestions to help you turn your attention to the subject and tackle it. #1, have a purpose worth living for. It's hard to find motivation in the moment when there is no hope in the future. A sense of purpose helps a person to make a decision to change and then to follow through with the discipline required to make that change permanent. I found that to be true after my heart attack. A friend who spent a lot of time with me during my recovery saw me pass on desserts time after time, something that was not characteristic of me, and finally he asked, "Have you lost your craving for desserts?" "No," I answered, "but my craving for life is greater." Number 2, do work you enjoy. One of the greatest causes of debilitating stress in people's lives is doing jobs they don't enjoy. It's like comedian Lily Tomlin said, the problem with the rat race is that even if you win, you're still a rat. I believe 2 major frustrations contribute to that stress. The first is doing work you don't think is important. If you do work that you believe adds no value to yourself or to others, you quickly become demoralized. To remain healthy, your work must be in alignment with your values. Another reason some people don't like their work is because they do jobs that keep them in an area of weakness. Nobody can do that long and succeed. For example, most people hate the thought of public speaking. How would you like to get up in front of an audience and speak to them every day? That's some people's number 1 fear. One of the ways you can tell you're working in an area of strength is that it actually gives you energy. Even if you are in the early stages of your career or are starting out on a new venture and you're not very good at something you're doing, you can still tell it's an area of strength by paying attention to how you respond to your failures. Mistakes that challenge you show your areas of strengths. Mistakes that threaten you show areas of your weaknesses. Number 3, find your pace. Part of taking care of yourself includes finding and maintaining the pace that's right for you. If you take life more slowly than your energy level is capable of, you can become lazy. If you continually run at a pace faster than you are capable, you can burn out. You need to find your balance. Even today, at age 57, I still have a tendency to take on too much and go at a faster pace than is really good for me. There are so many opportunities I want to pursue, books I want to write, and people I want to help. I'm constantly trying to strike a balance between my desire to maintain a healthy pace of life and my drive to accomplish all I can during my lifetime. Number 4, accept your personal worth. Psychologist Joyce Brothers says, an individual's self-concept affects every aspect of human behavior. The ability to learn, the capacity to grow and change, the choice of friends, mates, and careers. It is no exaggeration to say that a strong, positive self-image is the best possible preparation for success in life. If your self-image is driving you to do things that negatively impact your health, seek help. Number 5, laugh. Physician Bernie F. Siegel wrote in Peace, Love, and Healing, I've done the research, and I hate to tell you, but everybody dies. Lovers, joggers, vegetarians, and non-smokers. I'm telling you this so that some of you who jog at 5 a.m. and eat vegetables will occasionally sleep late and have an ice cream cone. We should never take life or ourselves too seriously. Each of us has idiosyncrasies that can cause us to despair or to laugh. For example, when it comes to anything related to tools or technology, I'm clueless. I'm not Mr. Handyman, I'm Mr. Hopeless. I don't let that bother me at all. If you can laugh at yourself loudly and often, you will find it liberating. There's no better way to prevent stress from becoming distress. After meeting with Dr. Marshall following my heart attack, I had a new discipline to manage. Every day I will eat low-fat foods and exercise for at least 35 minutes. He told me that 85% of all heart patients quit their healthy regimen within 6 months. Even though I had not succeeded in this area my first 50 years, I was determined to succeed in it the rest of my life. Margaret and I learned everything we could about heart issues, low-fat diets, and exercise. I became a model of discipline. And in May of 2001, when I visited Dr. Marshall, he congratulated me. John, he said, you're doing all the right things. You don't need to consider yourself a heart patient anymore. I wish I would have never heard those words. You see, I love food and I possess a foodaholic bent. Because of that good news I received from Dr. Marshall, I gave myself permission to cheat on my diet once in a while, something I had not done once in 2.5 years. The problem was that I quit managing my life according to the decision I made. I had relaxed my discipline. Once my commitment was less than 100%, I got into trouble. I need to exercise and stay on my diet every day. But I began to slide from every day to most days to some days. I ignored my own teaching that today matters. Neglect enough todays and you'll experience the someday you've wanted to avoid. The good news is that I'm no longer off the wagon. I'm recommitted to my daily discipline. The bad news is that I'm doing only 80% of what I was doing before. Dr. Marshall is trying to help me. He's a good doctor and a good friend. And he knows that sometimes the best medicine is a good kick in the butt. The area of health is still a battle, but it's one that I'm determined to win. In my teens, I developed many bad eating habits. In my 20s, food became a stress reliever when I worked especially hard. In my 30s, I finally started to exercise, but it was usually last on my agenda. In my 40s, I realized I needed to attend to my health and made a decision to change, but I failed to add the necessary daily discipline. In my 50s, I finally made the decision to know and follow healthy guidelines daily, a commitment that I am working hard to keep.